Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. My name's Em. If you don't know, now you know. Hi, how are you guys? I am so excited today because guess what? Kendall's coming to the city today. She's currently on her way here as I'm recording. She's in the car. Will be here in a couple hours, and I am so fucking excited. We haven't seen each other since August. And like we talk as much as possible. Definitely have not spoken a ton in the past 7 months. So I'm just like, I am so excited to see her. She's only here for literally like 24 hours, but that's fine. I'm so excited. So this episode is going up on the 1st, which maybe you guys are listening to it on the 1st. And then Ken and I are going to record an episode tomorrow morning, which will be Saturday. And this is going to go up next week. Ken has been asking me to be on the podcast almost since I started it, except she lives across the country, and if I'm being entirely honest, I don't really understand how people set up, like, the virtual podcast. Like, I don't really know how to do that. We've never had the opportunity to record together, but now she's going to be here, so we're going to record tomorrow morning. I have absolutely no idea what we're recording yet. Anyways, I'm excited. So we're going to have an actual, like, guest on the podcast, which is insane. Oh, it's just so cool. But I'm so excited to see her. So, yeah, that's my, like, good news of the day. I almost said St. Patrick's Day. Happy April Fool's Day, if you're listening to this on the 1st. Does anybody actually take April Fool's Day seriously? Like, is that anybody's, like, favorite holiday? Is it even considered an actual holiday, or is it just, like, a gag holiday? Because I personally kind of hate April Fool's Day because a lot of people are mean, so it's not my favorite, like, gag holiday. But if you celebrate it, happy April Fool's Day. How was your week this week, guys? I had a pretty decent week, especially in comparison to last week. If you listened to last week's episode, you'll know my life was, I was going through it a little bit, and this week was a million times better. My workouts felt awesome. My brain felt like it has returned this week. My sleep was so much, like, just everything was a million times better. So I'm really excited about that because it was refreshing to have a good week. Also, we had a short week at work because of the long weekend. So it's currently Friday when I'm recording. Didn't have to go to work today, which is always exciting. We're just going to kind of get right into it today because I don't have any exciting news on what happened this week. So I was looking through Pinterest to find, so I don't know if you guys follow the Instagram, which y'all should go follow the Instagram because a lot of y'all don't. So go do that. But this past week, I posted a mix of, like, personal content, like actual pictures and stuff from my life, and then just some random quotes or, like, I guess photos, whatever, that I found on Pinterest, because I thought it just gives a good balance. Anyways, so I was looking through Pinterest to find some of those, like, quotes or photos to post on Instagram, and I found this picture of, it wasn't a picture, it was a drawing of this girl painting a flower, and you'll probably see it if you saw the Instagram post this morning. I think I'm going to post it the morning that this comes out, so you can go look at it on Instagram. That's the one I'm talking about. So yeah, basically it's just this picture, or this drawing of a girl painting a flower, and the quote around it says that you don't have to be good at something to enjoy it. Didn't think a ton about it, just thought that it was cute, so I saved it because I thought it would be a good, like, midweek kind of reminder, refresh, whatever you want to say. And as I was scheduling the posts to go up for last week, I looked at it again, and I was like, I feel like I should do an episode about that because I feel like this really ties into the first episode that ever came out on the podcast, which was me talking about the fact that I don't have any hobbies. And just looking at the picture and thinking about, like, how I could make an episode about that, it made me realize that as much as I like to think that I've worked on my perfectionism and my inability to let myself be bad at things, I really haven't at all. I have not done enough work in terms of letting go of that mindset in my life. It felt like a call out. I have tried so many hobbies, and by so many, I mean not actually that many, but every time that I think about starting a hobby, I spend so much money on it, and I spend so much time, like, doing the research and learning about this hobby. The second that I'm not good at it, I give up. So for example, almost a year ago, in May of last year, bought a guitar. It's a very cute guitar. I love her. I don't play it. Told myself a year ago, me and my brother bought guitars at the same time, like the exact same guitar, because we kind of told ourselves that if we were competing with each other to see who could learn to play faster, it would actually motivate us to play. Newsflash, almost a year later, neither of us can play guitar. I started crocheting during COVID, like when the first lockdown happened. I ordered so much crochet stuff because I was convinced that that's what I was going to do with all my time. Gave up. I think I tried it for like one day and I couldn't get the tension on it right, so I gave all the stuff to my sister. I've tried painting. If you're watching on YouTube, there's these two little pictures that are above my bar and coffee cart in my dining room. I painted those, which by painting them, I mean it's literally just like orange and white paint kind of splattered on a canvas with some texture under it. But I did those. Last summer, I tried like actually painting on little canvases. I'm just not that artistic of a person, and I felt like every time that I was painting, I was just going on Pinterest, finding somebody else's painting, and then trying to recreate it. And then when it was bad, I would get frustrated. I tried pottery for all of like a month. I signed up for this like 6-week I don't know, essentially you were like learning to throw pottery and mold clay. Did it for the 6 weeks and then never did it again. And the only reason that I did it for the 6 weeks was because I had to pay before the classes started, so I was already out the money. So I was like, well, shit, I might as well go. I've tried baking. Like, I can bake bread, kind of. I can't really bake anything else. And I've tried, and it's, you know, the second that I'm not immediately good at something, I don't want anything to do with it. I want to quit. I'm over it. And then it sits in the closet. I could probably make like an entire little storage area in my house of failed hobbies. And I don't know what that says about me. So it got me thinking, like, we are told from so young that you have to try or you have to want to be the best at everything you do. And I know that people are going to say, like, well, nobody ever told me that. Maybe nobody ever explicitly told you that. Maybe nobody ever was like, hey, if you're going to do XYZ, you need to be the best. But they insinuated it. Nothing is ever, and maybe this is like a newer thing, and it was different a billion years ago. Nothing is ever casual anymore. You can never casually do something. You can't casually play sports. You can't casually do an activity or an art. Nothing. Because automatically it's turned into a competition and you need to be/want to be the best. Otherwise, there's no point in you doing what you're doing. Why? Like, so many basic human or like people activities like singing, dancing, making art, whatever else, have become skills rather than behaviors. So like dancing, for example, that's a natural human behavior. It's something that releases endorphins. It's something that makes people happy. If you want to like dance around your kitchen, it's a behavior. It can be like, something can be a behavior and also be a skill at the same time and exist in two different capacities. But now, or more recently I should say, the behavior of that doesn't exist. Dancing is no longer something that people are like, yeah, I like, you know, I casually no, it's now a skill that you have to be, you're either good or bad at. Whereas a behavior, you don't have to be good or bad at it because it's just a behavior. But when it's a skill, now there's a ranking. Now there's like, hey, I need to be the best or I'm the worst, you know? So it's no longer acceptable for people to do these things just because it's a thing people do. Now, again, it's a competition, and if you're not trying to win, if you're not trying to be the best, if you're not trying to constantly improve your ability to perform this skill, which is actually a behavior, there's no point in trying at all. There's no point in doing anything with it because, well, you're not trying to be better. You're not trying to be the best. So why are you even, why are you doing this at all? And it sucks to realize that so many of these, like, again, normal human behaviors have been switched into now it's a skill and it doesn't exist outside of anything but that skill. and you have to be good at it, otherwise you shouldn't do it at all. You know, and also, here's the thing that gets me. So many people have this mentality that you need to monetize your hobbies and find things that you're good at to like move you up the ladder in life. If you want to monetize your hobbies, do whatever you want. Great, power to you. Sometimes it works out really, really well for people. If somebody loves to crochet and they in their head are thinking, maybe I should like start selling these things. Great. If that's something that genuinely is going to bring you joy and you actually want to do, go for it. Do it. Great idea. Don't let people convince you that every single hobby you have or every single activity that you enjoy needs to be monetized. Because it doesn't. It irks me. Say you're having a conversation with somebody about your hobbies or an activity that you like to do. The second that the conversation shifts to like, I do this because I want to do this. I do this because I enjoy it. I do this because it brings me joy. Suddenly people think you're wasting time. Like as soon as the conversation changes from like, I do this because I want to be good at it, into I do this because it makes me happy, now there's no point in you doing that hobby. There's no point in doing that activity, because why would you simply do something to make you happy? What? Like that's so, it's so dumb. I just Googled, like, you don't have to be good at something to enjoy it. That's all I Googled, just to see what came up. And I found a really good Reddit thread, which I don't ever really use Reddit, but sometimes there's really cute Reddit threads that, you know. So I found this Reddit thread, and it was talking about this, and people were talking about, like, different experiences that they have with this, like, mentality, or with, like, coming to terms with this mentality. And one of the comments on this thread, is it a comment? I don't really know how Reddit works, but you know what I mean. One of the people that replied to it, their username was yet_another_passerby, if you care. I'll link the Reddit thread down below if I can find it again, because it was really cute. Like, it was just one of those ones that was, like, you know, it was cute to read through. Anyways, so that user said, or, like, commented, I think the point of pursuing hobbies isn't to be good at them, but to keep us from dying. And that, I feel like that just summed up, like, the whole, everything that I was feeling about this, that summed it up really well. I think the point of pursuing hobbies isn't to be good at them, but to keep us from dying. Are you kidding? Like, that's just, the way that they put that was just, I thought it was so good. Our lives are not intended to be permanently monetized. We're not meant to be perfect at every single thing we do. We're not meant to turn our hobbies and our activities into careers. Again, if you can, great. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying people have this mentality that unless you can monetize your hobbies, unless you can make money off of something that you do, there's no point in doing it, because heaven forbid you do something for yourself. Heaven forbid you do something just because you enjoy it, because it makes you happy, because, you know, whatever. And like, it's insane to me. The fun part of life, there's lots of fun parts of life, but you know what I mean. One of the fun parts of life is trying new things and gaining new experiences and continuously learning through your entire life. If everybody only did things that they were good at, especially if people only did things they were good at right off the bat, we'd have incredibly boring lives. Like, nobody would do anything fun, nobody would do anything interesting. I just think it's so important for people to remember that your life is meant to be lived, and you're allowed to do things just because you want to do them. So take a dance class, or bake a new recipe, or try painting, or pick up a new instrument, or start running, start going to the gym, or writing, or singing. Like, whatever you think would bring you joy, whatever you can, like, you can sit there and think to yourself, like, if I had to do one activity without the fear of judgment and without the fear of, like, I'm probably not going to be good at this, what would you do? And if you can go do it right now, go start, go try it, you know? Like, life is so incredibly short in a long, painful, very boring way. So find things that remind you that it's fun to be alive. It's really, like, the chance of you existing is so slim, and you're allowed to exist in a way that makes you feel happy without needing to be absolutely perfect. And I know that that's hard to, like, when you're so conditioned to think that you need to be perfect at everything you're doing. It's a really fucking hard mindset shift to understand that, hey, I don't need to be perfect at everything that I do. I don't need to be the best in the world to enjoy an activity. Sometimes being bad at something is so incredibly fun. Like, it can be really, really fun to be so bad at something that you can sit there and laugh at yourself and say, like, I suck at this. I'm undeniably bad, but this is really fun. It's freeing to allow yourself to do something simply for the hell of doing it, instead of feeling like you need to accomplish a goal with every single thing that you do in your life. I also found when I was Googling and I found that Reddit thread, I also found an article written by Kristin Wong, which the title of it was The Simple Joy of Being Awful at Something. Oh my god, I was already just having an emotional day, and reading it made me sob. I sat on the couch and was just crying while reading it, because it's just so beautifully written in a way that makes it feel like it's fun to be bad, quote unquote bad, at things. You could tell that they were one of those people that are just very free in their life, and the way that they were writing the article was very freeing and felt like, hey, I am okay with not being perfect at everything. I am okay with doing something simply because it reminds me that I'm alive and I want to enjoy being alive. I'll link the article. That one I'll find. That one I have bookmarked, so that one I'll for sure link. It was incredible. I think everybody should read it. It was just I don't know, the way it was written and what it was talking about was really, really cool. So I recommend you go read that article. This goes for anybody, but especially anybody who kind of was raised or was taught, or maybe just inflicted this on themselves, that you need to be perfect at something to, I always had this mentality that I could do something in private, and then, any new hobby that I wanted to do, any new sport, I felt like I had to do it alone first, because if I do it in the safety of my house or the safety of my room and nobody else sees me, if I'm bad at it and I never do it again, I don't have to talk about it because nobody else was there. No one else was in the room where it happened. But nobody else was there. Nobody was experiencing that with me. So I don't have to talk about the fact that I was bad at it. Whereas, I don't know, maybe it's just me that's a fucking anxious person. The thought of going to do a new sport or hobby or activity with another person is terrifying, because now not only am I going to be judging myself, but I also convince myself that they're going to be judging me. They're definitely not. In retrospect, people are so busy with their own lives, nobody's judging you. And if they are, they suck. Move on. So find a friend that you can be bad at things with, because it's really cool. I don't know, start playing pickleball. Have I told y'all that I bought pickleball paddles? I am so excited. Or do a paint night with a bunch of your friends. Do something like that allows it removes that pressure of the end result needs to be perfect. Go to an open mic, which they don't really exist in my town or in my city, which makes me really sad, because I would love to go to, not for me to talk, absolutely not, but to listen to other people talk. Go to workout classes, do something that allows you to connect with your people and enjoy your life. And sometimes it can be refreshing to experience new things with people, because again, if you're both bad at it, it's a funny, haha, let's go get lunch and talk about how bad that went, Find people around you that are also bad at things that you're bad at, and you can go enjoy them together. You don't have to be perfect. I think it's also really important to be conscious about how you talk to yourself and how you talk to other people about your hobbies, activities, whatever. Ask people what they like to do. If you're having a conversation with a friend or whatever, ask people what they like to do. Take interest in their hobbies, and remind yourself that just because somebody else might not be the best at something, it does not, that has no influence on the validity of their hobby. So if somebody tells you, say you're talking to, I don't know, a coworker, oh, what do you do for fun? Whatever. Oh, I actually paint. Oh my gosh, let me see some of your painting, whatever. And they show you these paintings, and they're their paintings, might not be great. It doesn't take away from the fact they are a painter. That is their hobby. They paint. Just because it's not something that would go up in an exhibit, or just because it's not something that anybody else would absolutely love, does not take away from the validity of them having that as their hobby or their activity. And it's the same for yourself. If you, I don't know, say you want to start writing like poetry. Okay, great. Just because it's bad does not mean that you didn't write it and that it's not poetry and that it shouldn't be appreciated. It's okay to not be great. It's okay to not be perfect at these things. I feel like I should also clarify. It's okay to want to improve on these skills. I'm not saying you shouldn't put any work into improving. If you find a hobby that you genuinely enjoy and you genuinely want to get better at for the sole purpose of like, this is going to make me happy to grow this skill, that's great. And if not, if it's something that you just want to continue doing at like this baseline, also great. You're allowed to want to improve, but it doesn't mean you have to. So like, for example, I want to improve on playing guitar. And by improve, I mean start and actually be able to play. But that's something that, like, that is a progressional skill. That is something that once I learn, I'm going to continue learning and I am going to get better. Same with like baking breads. I love baking bread. I don't make fun breads. I haven't tried anything else besides like a normal like sandwich loaf and dinner rolls. It's something that I want to get better at. It's something that I want to learn more skills. We started doing sourdough, like my mom and I started doing sourdoughs, and that's a whole new realm of baking bread that I haven't tried, These are things that I want to get better at. And that's okay. I don't care to improve on things like, I don't know, poetry. I used to write poetry. I don't really anymore. But even when I was writing it, it wasn't something that I felt the need to like put a ton of time and effort into like educating myself on improving. I just enjoyed writing. Or like painted those paintings. And this summer, probably going to do a couple paint nights with some friends. Not something that I care to be super great at, And that's okay. It doesn't remove the fact that that's a hobby or an activity that I do and that I enjoy just because it's not my best, Life is meant to be enjoyed, and you should allow yourself to enjoy it without the fear of failure. And I understand there is a benefit to not wanting to fail. I'm not saying that like in every aspect of your life you should be okay with just remaining mediocre. Because you should want to improve. In so many aspects of your life, you should want to improve. The activities or the hobbies that you do to give yourself joy do not have to fall into that category of something that you have to be terrified of failure. Give yourself the grace of finding the little things in life that remind you why it's exciting and fun to exist. Because I get it. Life is a lot. Life is terrifying. Life is sad and hard and so many bad things, but it can also be incredible. It can be so fun. And when you allow yourself to enjoy the life that you're living, it gets so much better. Like, shit gets so much better. So finding those little, hobbies, activities, whatever you want to classify them as, that remind you why it's exciting to be alive, like, it can change your life. It can change your life to acknowledge that you don't have to be 100% perfect at everything all the time. You're allowed to do something simply because it makes you feel alive and it makes you feel human. So, I will say it again. Your life is meant to be enjoyed. However that looks for you, your life is meant to be enjoyed. And you deserve to allow yourself to enjoy it and live it without the constant fear of failure or the constant fear of judgment. So, that's all I've got for that today, guys. I hope you guys like this episode. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I appreciate you so much. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a review, whatever else they let you do down there. Reminder, we're on YouTube. I say it every episode, and I'm going to continue to say it. But, yeah, have a good April, guys. It's the beginning of the month. That's what your monthly task is going to be for this month. Not just for the week. I want you to do it for an entire month. Find a random hobby or activity or workout style or whatever it is, something in your life that you either haven't done before or you used to do and you weren't great at it, so you stopped, and start. Do it a couple times a week. Allow yourself to be content just for doing it, you know, because you deserve it. Anyways, that's all I've got for this week, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Go follow the Instagram. It's at Hey From Em. Follow me on Instagram. It's ebfit or Emily Brilligard. And I'll also link the YouTube down below. You guys should go subscribe. So, yeah, we'll chat next time.